prior to the negotiation session, we decided as a group to narrow down our topics of discussion to just three, which were location, size, and the employee ratio of foreigners versus locals. And our reasons for doing this was because, as we learned in previous class, of a case where a young woman wanted to do business relations with an international company, and she ended up losing that partnership as she had gone the day before, so she didn't have time to build that rapport. So we knew going in that we weren't necessarily going to come to an agreement by the end. We just wanted to focus on those three topics: location, size, and employee ratio. Just get a general idea of what it was, where they stood on each topic. So we started off with open-ended questions, and culture bias I had was I thought that a simple nod was that they were in agreement. But as I learned as they left the room and came back, that they weren't in agreement at all. So it was a bit confusing because I thought a simple head nod and us moving on to the next subject meant that we were all in agreement when really we weren't. Also, so yeah, I thought we were making progress, and it seemed to be a bit confusing as we were jumping from one topic to the next, and then we were having to revert them back to, okay, no, we're going to get to all of those other things, but let's just talk about this one thing. So it was kind of difficult to kind of like keep track and keep them on one subject at a time before moving on to the next. And then another thing that I noticed was that the building relationship was important. And so we had small talk in the beginning, and I thought that we were done with the discussion of children, the weather, all that other stuff. But I noticed that throughout our discussion that was brought up again and again, and it was like a bit, it was frustrating. And of course we didn't want to show that, but I just felt like we were wasting our time. And I was aware that we were on a time constraint, but I just felt like we weren't getting anywhere. And I kind of like to know what it is at hand that we supposed to do, get to it, and then that'd be it. And so it was just a lot. And I guess I have to get in tune with being able to build that relationship and talk about subjects that I may not necessarily want to talk about, such as personal life and family. I tend to not share those type of things with people that I just met. So I think that's something that I would have to get used to. Okay. So towards the end of the session, we hadn't come into an agreement on anything, but we did leave with, we would continue to discuss it later on over dinner. So we all were fine with that. Some biases that I saw in my team members were, although we had the case in front of us of what we needed to focus on, I noticed that one of my team members was sticking towards the location. The first location name was Shanghai, and he was very adamant about us getting that location. And I was like, well, what about if we do option 2 or option 3? And then it was kind of like difficult to kind of get him to maneuver from that one location that he was set on, but since that was our main priority, that was our first priority. And again, with our opponents, some culture biases I noticed that was the nodding their heads, and the some of them I couldn't read. So like, although we talked about stuff, it's like they kept a straight face. So it was kind of difficult to read whether or not they agreed or not, or if they even if they had an opinion on it. So it was difficult to read their facial expressions. One thing that I will incorporate into future cross-cultural negotiations is to just be patient, build that relationship. That relationship is very important, and not be so uptight on or fixated on the task. Like, it's okay to. And I think I'm so focused on like work is work, and like I have my outside friends that I could vent to or that I could talk to. And so when it comes down to work, I just want to focus on the work. And I think it's good to kind of take a step back and actually get to know the people in which you're working with.